Coming in at number 10, we have The Affair. The world was completely shocked when R&B singer August Alsina came forward to admit that he has had an affair with Jada Pinkett-Smith in 2015. What was even more shocking is that when August sat down with The Breakfast Club for an interview with Angela Yee, he would say, "I actually sat down with Will and had a conversation due to the transformation from their marriage to life partnership. He gave me his blessing." August then went on to insist that he hasn't done anything to be ashamed of and that he loved the Smiths, before saying, "I totally gave myself to that relationship for years of my life, and I truly, really deeply love and have a ton of love for her. I devoted myself to it." Then many people started to claim that Jada has taken advantage of August since he was in a vulnerable time in his life, as the singer was only 22 and he was struggling with his health due to an autoimmune condition that left him hospitalized on multiple occasions. One inside source would even also reveal to Page 6 that when Jada said she was mentoring August through it all, she was only really destroying him. Number 9. The forced open marriage. The Smiths have received a lot of scrutiny when it comes to their marriage, especially in 2009. Jada Pinkett-Smith went on to address all the rumors that surrounded it. In an interview with Atlanta Q100, Jada would say, "I've heard all the things from their marriage is not real. He's gay, she's gay, they swing." She then went on to prove that the couple has nothing to prove when it comes to the relationship, and she also went on to tell HuffPost in 2013 that she and Will had no claim over each other's lives, and she also told Will that he could do whatever he wanted as long as he was able to look at himself in the mirror and be okay. In recent years, the pair has still continued to admit that they like to take an unconventional approach when it comes to their marriage. But for the most part, it seems like this is Jada's doing, as she wants to mess around with other people, and Will doesn't want to lose her, so he sits back and lets his marriage crumble in the process. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming in at number 8, we have Forced into a Cult. Although Will Smith and Jada Pinkett-Smith have insisted they aren't Scientologists, it's kind of hard to believe anything they say when it comes to not being involved with the controversial religion for years. As a former ex-Scientologist member, Lee once told the Daily Beast back in 2017, "I know Jada's in. She's been in Scientology a long time. I never saw Will there, but I saw Jada at the Celebrity Center." Lee then went on to point out that Jada even forced her husband Will to allow her to open a school in one of their homes that was based on Scientology, and she even forced her own kids to go to that school before it shut down. With Jada opening the New Village Leadership Academy in 2008, the school only lasted about 5 years before it closed down. One of the academy's teaching staff even confirmed that they used L. Ron Hubbard's books and Scientology-affiliated study technology, and there's posters of him all around the school as well. Later, Lee even appeared on the Red Table Talk alongside Jada in 2018, where Jada said, "You're gonna learn all the religions, and then you gotta decide which one you want to practice. I always took the position I'm here at the Scientology Center to learn what I want to learn, and I had no interest in being a Scientologist." Number 7. The controversial photo. Back when Willow Smith was only 13 years old, a controversial photo of Willow began to spread across social media as she was shown lying on a bed next to then 20-year-old actor and photographer Moses Arias. While she was shirtless, many people then started to voice their concern about the photo, as they thought it was wildly inappropriate, especially considering Willow was very much underage and hanging out with someone who wasn't. Children's Services and then the police got involved, and Jada would then come to her daughter's defense by supporting the photo after she said that TMZ was blowing the photo way out of proportion. Jada would then go on to say, "There's nothing sexual about that picture or the situation. You guys are projecting your trash onto it, and you're acting like cover pedophiles. That's not cool." To make matters even worse, there were also people who started to agree with Jada. However, this whole situation was just really creepy, you have to admit that. Number 6. The Oscars. Although the 94th Academy Award should have been a memorable moment for Will Smith, he ended up making Oscar history for all the wrong reasons. Instead of the media talking about his talent and incredible win, Will sparked major controversy after he took to the stage to slap Chris Rock over the joke about Jada Pinkett-Smith's balding head. With Chris comparing Jada to G.I. Jane due to her shaved head, while Will first went on to laugh at the joke when his wife rolled her eyes and gave him hell for it, he took matters into his own hands and defended his wife like she wanted. Now, Jada has been open about her struggles with alopecia, to the point that she told her followers on Instagram in a video early in 2022 that all she could do was laugh when it came to the fact that she had a bald head. So the joke definitely came across a little too close to home, especially since in the past past, he already threw shots at the actress during the 2016 Oscars. Although she did end up saying that she didn't make him do it, she sure did have the power to stop him from leaving his seat in the first place. Number 5. Her love for Tupac. Jada Pinkett-Smith and Tupac both met at Baltimore School of Arts in Maryland in the late 1980s, and they became close friends. And in the past, Jada has tried to say that the two weren't involved romantically, but we all know that's a lie. And almost a month after Will Smith and Chris Rock's altercation, an interview of Jada and Tupac's friend started to resurface on the internet. And in the interview, Tupac's friend would state that Tupac had a lot of love and lots of respect for Jada. However, they then went on to claim that there was this time where he witnessed Tupac become extremely upset by something Jada said to him. When they went on to say, the second time I had probably heard him talk about her is when he went to LA. He was very upset, you know what I mean? Pop came out of the room and was like, Jada had gone contact me and tell me don't do nothing with Will Smith. Over the years, it seems like Jada has never been shy to share her love that she had for Tupac. As for what would have been his 50th birthday party, she went on to share a never before seen poem that he gave her. And it's clear at the end of the day she still loves him, and that's probably why she causes Will so much problems. Number 4. The forced marriage. Not only has Jada gone on to roast Will Smith for his actions, but she's also shared in an episode on the Red Table Talk in 2018 that she cried while walking down the aisle on her wedding day because she never wanted to be married. In the video, Jada could be seen talking about her wedding day with Will Smith, and in it, she confessed that she did not want to be married, and she only ended up doing it because her mother forced her to get married because she got pregnant with Jaden while the two were still dating. The actress then went on to say, it's almost as if Gammy was like, you're going to have to get married, so let's talk about the wedding. I was under so much pressure, you know, being a young actress, and I was like pregnant. I was just like, I didn't know what to do, but I just knew. I was like, I never wanted to be married. She then went on to describe how horrible her wedding actually was, but how can you sit here and tell a man that you never wanted to get married to him and that your mom made you do it, as you control your own actions by this time in your life, not your mother. Number 3. Treated like a peasant. Did you know that Will Smith once took 3 years to plan a super extravagant birthday party for Jada's 40th birthday? And instead of appreciating the thought and the gesture that he took, she was less than pleased about her husband's gift. When Will was super happy about all the hard work he put in trying to make it the best gift for Jada, she was underwhelmed and lashed out at Will to the point it made him hit a low point in his life. Will went to great lengths when he planned Jada's birthday, and he even hired an orchestra and a documentary team to trace Jada's family roots. While most people would appreciate the gesture, Jada would claim that the whole thing was actually just a party that showed off Will's ego. And while Will continued to go on to treat his wife like a queen that night, she just went on to show him that he was just a peasant. That's just really sad. Number 2. She's salty. In an episode on the Red Table Talk, Jada would bring up how she's gotten hostile towards other women who have been disrespectful to her about Will Smith in their marriage. When Willow asked her mother about how she felt about the groupies around her dad, Jada would respond by saying, I really didn't. I know I was deterrent. Later on in an interview, she also went on to note that there was only like 1 or 2 times where I might have gotten a little hostile, where I felt like people stepped over a boundary and they were disrespectful. I know who I am, and more importantly, he knows who I am, right? It's clear Jada doesn't like other women trying to talk to Will, but yet she can have an affair on her husband and then go on to justify her actions over that said affair. Makes sense. And coming at number 1 today, we have Margot Robbie. Although Jada and Will have been married since 1997, it's clear she doesn't think her marriage is really strong, as she believes Margot Robbie could sweep in at any moment and steal her husband. Even though the couple is in an open marriage, Jada has defended her husband's public comments in appreciation for Margot in 2015, but those said comments have quickly become forgotten, as Jada once made a comment about how she harbors a racial bias towards white women with blonde hair, as they just seem to trigger her. Although she tried to claim that this was because she was bullied by blonde girls in school, it's clear that her comment was an indirect reference to her hostility towards Margot, as apparently Will acts like he's an unmarried man when he's around her. Now it's clear Margot and Will both have chemistry, just watch the movies they're in together. And they're definitely a couple people want to see get together. And this scares Jada to the point she won't stop causing trouble for Will.
Number 10. Jaden Smith. In her tell-all interview promoting her tell-all book, Jada revealed that her son Jaden saved her life after introducing her to a certain ceremony during a dark time in her life. While Jaden did not do it all the time, he had heard about its benefits from mental health issues from a friend and suggested that they give it a shot. She claimed that after only a handful of uses that her negative thoughts just kinda went away. Jaden has released a statement along with his sister, begging their mother to keep some things private at this time. On top of their pleas to keep quiet, they also acknowledge that their parents have been separated for quite some time and they've known about it, so it's helping absolutely nobody if they stay together. Number 9. Eddie Murphy. Eddie and Jada starred together in the 1996 reboot of The Nutty Professor, a story about a heavy-set man played by Eddie Murphy who develops a serum that burns body fat, making him slender and confident. Smith played his love interest, and it turns out that her time on set was actually something she doesn't fully remember. On an episode of Red Table Talk, Jada admitted to having some serious substance control issues for a good portion of her life. She admitted that while filming this project, she would spend as much time as possible in an altered state, sometimes even while she was on set in front of the camera. On the day she passed out on set and when she came to, she simply told people that she must have had some old vitamins or something like that, when the reality was she was hopped up on too many happy pills. The moment stuck with Jada for a long time, and she claims that this was the last time substances would interfere with her work. Eddie Murphy caught wind of what his co-star had actually done, and he was not happy. The majority of filming was stressful, and the crew were in way too deep for the production to recast Jada and make things work. So Eddie isn't a big social media guy, but he's probably happy to know that Jada's secrets are being exposed left and right. Number 8. Leah Remini. When it comes to science and Jada Pinkett-Smith, Leah Remini is probably the most outspoken against Jada. Smith claims to have very little involvement in the community. Rumors that Will and Jada were big into science have been around for years, and this is something that Leah mentions in her book. Troublemaker, Surviving Hollywood, and Weird Science mentions Will and Jada a handful of times, but contains some interesting Jada information. Leah claimed to know for certain that Jada was involved for a long time. Now, she had never seen Will Smith attending any events, but she did spot Jada attending a few at the Celebrity Center in Hollywood. Jada clapped back on Twitter, naming all of the houses of worship that she has visited without being a member. Now, despite getting together on Red Table Talk while it was still on the air and clearing things up, Remini is still on the side of these two should just break up already and save each other the pain and confusion. Number 7. Keanu Reeves. Who could forget the Matrix movies? 3 wonderfully dark, futuristic sci-fi thrillers, and the 4th one. Fun fact about the first Matrix movie, the role of Neo was initially offered to Jada's husband, Will Smith. Will ultimately turned the role down and it went to Keanu Reeves. Instead of making The Matrix, Will went on to make the very underrated film Wild Wild West. It's just an extremely underrated action comedy set in the Old West. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Although Will decided to turn down the role, Jada felt that the project would be revolutionary for the film industry, and while she did eventually star in a sequel, she actually failed to get herself into the first movie. Jada wanted to play the character Trinity in the 1999 film and was even brought in to audition. She recalled failing the audition because she had absolutely no chemistry with Keanu Reeves. For a long time, she has been adamant that she has no idea why there was nothing there, but it seems as simple as the two just did not get along at first. In her memoir, she literally says that she doesn't think it was his fault and refers to him as Key several times, like they're buds. Between Jada's missteps and Will Smith denying the chance to appear in the project, Keanu is surely just counting down the days until these two split for good. Or he doesn't care because he's Keanu Reeves and he has better things to do. Number 6, Tom Segura. Tom Segura was one of the many celebrities who started bashing Will Smith after he ruined the Oscar ceremony in 2022. And I'm not gonna repeat what happened, alright? Go watch some of our other videos if you wanna know. Now, if you don't know what happened, Tom delivered a fiery take on the infamous moment, and I wish I could quote every single thing that he says because it is just so good. So I'm gonna paraphrase as best as I can. Addressing Will Smith directly, Tom said, "Let me tell you this. The idea that his entitled rear end thinks because his feelings are hurt that he gets to hurt one of the all-time greats." Then calling Will a spineless coward that was now on Hollywood's blacklist. Later on, while diving deeper into the situation on the Pat McAfee show, he explained that it was a clear move of entitlement. Will Smith in the moment just decided, you know what, yeah, I'm gonna get out of my chair and I'm gonna go strike Chris Rock across the face because he hurt my feelings. It was like something out of a horror movie. This was only something that was discussed behind closed doors in the comedy industry especially, but it was happening live on stage only for the audience to respond with muffles and applause, going about the night like nothing happened. Since the news that Jada is releasing a memoir became public, he's been urging this couple to sign their papers and stop this nonsense. Number 5, Tom Cruise. Is it really a surprise to learn that Tom Cruise has some celebrity buddies who like to ride with him from time to time? And I'm not talking about horses, no, I'm talking about motorcycles, man. I can't be cool saying motorcycles. It's one of Tom's favorite pastimes, apart from stunt working and of course couch jumping. After becoming friends on the set of the movie Collateral, Tom and Jada discovered that they had a mutual love of motorcycles and went riding with Tom on his dirt bike track. That's right, Tom loves riding so much that he has his own dirt bike track. Somehow that's the only normal thing about this guy. In her memoir, she shares that the two grew close. While Tom has never said it out loud, the stories that Jada tells weave a tale of love. One entry particularly sounds like something right out of a romance novel. One day, after trying to launch herself off of a ramp and failing miserably, Tom helped her up and suggested that they take a breather for the day. But Jada reminded him that it was Tom himself who told her never to give up. He helped her back on her bike, and they kept going. Over and over again in the memoir, there are stories of these two having a strong connection, so while Tom has never said it out loud, he's probably stoked that Will and Jada have officially announced their separation, leaving some room for old Tommy boy to squeeze in. Number 4, 50 Cent. Jada and her entanglement with August Alsina was news that shocked the world like a little tiny bit when it was revealed on Red Table Talk. For 50 Cent, this was the most annoying thing that he had ever had to deal with in his life, which is saying something. Following the revelation, social media users were flocking to Instagram, sharing their opinions and messaging their friends, including 50 Cent. He contacted Will Smith, his buddy, and the two ended up just cursing each other out the entire conversation. In October of 2021, 50 decided to comment on the marriage again, sharing his wish for Jada and Will to just leave each other for good so that he can stop reading about them while he's enjoying his morning brew. Number 3, Chris Rock. Ahead of the release of her new book, Worthy, Jada Pinkett-Smith has revealed a ton of information that was just originally thought to be rumors. Now, while we already covered a lot of things, like Will Smith's been separated, in fact, we have a whole top 10 list about that memoir, another fun piece of information that was revealed involved Chris Rock. It was revealed that before Chris Rock actually got struck across the face by Will Smith, he had asked Jada Pinkett-Smith out on a date. Now, when you hear that, you're probably like, oh, he asked her out before they met. No, actually, that situation took place in 2016 at the height of the first round of separation rumors, which turned out to be completely true. According to Jada, Chris reached out to take a swing. He called and said that he'd love to take her out, to which she responded, "But why though?" He clarified and told her that he was under the impression that herself and Will were getting a divorce, so he just kind of wanted to see what happened. Well, when she revealed that wasn't happening, Chris was so embarrassed. Of course, Chris wants these two to split up. How else is he supposed to try asking her out again? Number 2, August Alsina. The world was shocked when August Alsina came forward to confirm a major rumor surrounding Jada and Will's marriage, admitting that he had an affair with Jada in 2015. During an interview, he claimed that he actually sat down with Will Smith and received his blessing due to the nature of their relationship. He insisted that the couple had nothing to be ashamed of and that he loved the Smith family just so much. While Will Smith denied ever giving him a blessing, in fact, he didn't even know that this was a thing until he read about it, Jada admitted to the entanglement on Red Table Talk, where she explained to her husband that it was a moment she regretted, all the while referring to the infidelity as an entanglement, like two Christmas lights just trapped in a box. While many were, of course, confused as to why she would admit this on the internet for millions of people to see, they also started to wonder if she took advantage of August. At the time, he was only 22 and had struggled with his health, suffering from an autoimmune condition that left him hospitalized multiple times. Jada even admitted to being his mentor at the time. Sounds like a little bit of a weird relationship if you ask me. And at number 1, Will Smith. Now, if there is anyone on this planet that has the right to not like Jada Pinkett-Smith, it's her estranged husband, Will Smith. Seeing as they've secretly been separated for 7 years, he is definitely holding some resentment towards Jada. This man has endured public humiliation several times, both caused by himself and by her. In the past few weeks alone, Jada has been revealing so much information about her marriage to Will and what's really been going on behind the scenes. Not only were they separated, but it was revealed that she was in love with rapper Tupac Shakur, but not really in love. People are Anyway, now of course Will isn't calling for himself to be divorced from his wife. That's crazy. But behind closed doors, this man is more than likely filling out the divorce papers as we speak. Number 10. Secret son. While many know of the existence of Jaden and Willow Smith, did you know that Will Smith has a third son? Trey Smith was the product of Will's previous marriage to Cherie Zampino and tends to fly under the radar in the eyes of the media. In 2018, Jada brought Zampino onto her show and spilled the tea on the real story behind Trey, their relationship to each other, and Will's role as his biological father. For many Smith fans, this was the first time that we'd actually ever heard about Trey. Will claims that he had to distance himself from Trey and his mother following the divorce. Will recounts struggling to maintain a healthy enough relationship with Zampino for him to play the role of Trey's father. Trey was raised by his mom alone, growing up feeling betrayed and abandoned by Will. Eventually, Will made amends and became a proper part of Trey's life, but for a long time, Trey was kept hidden from the public, surely leaving a stain on the family unit that will never be washed away. Number 9. 7-year separation. Cheating rumors and dating scandals have followed this couple through their entire relationship. Since day one, people were convinced that they were in an open relationship, or maybe they were cheating on each other on and off basically the entire time. Well, it turns out that those rumors were kind of true. Ahead of the release of her new book, Worthy, Jada sat down with People magazine to share some inside info. The most revealing was that herself and Will Smith had actually been separated for 7 years. Despite appearing to be a happy couple on the outside, the truth was they decided to go their separate ways, emotionally speaking, a long time ago. Since 2016, Jada and Will have been living in the same house and appearing on red carpets together, but behind the scenes they actually just don't do anything together. Considering the massive size of Will's house, it's easy to imagine Jada choosing her own little section and just decorating it to her liking. She continued to say that she felt pressured into being with Will because it was mainly his idea to get together in the first place. 2 kids and 1 marriage later, and it would appear that Jada finally came to her senses and decided to split. Number 8. Will's orientation. In 2012, Star Magazine published an expose on Will that somehow stuck around for years. The outlet alleged that Will and his wife were headed for divorce because of his growing bromance with fellow actor Dwayne Martin, which was speculated upon due to the multiple outings that the pair shared in a short span of time. Because, people can't be buddies anymore. The rumor was only intensified when Jada expressed her dislike for their friendship, saying that she felt like Will flaunted it in her face. He takes Dwayne out all day and on exotic vacations, and while she just sits at home alone in her university-sized house. While it's never actually been confirmed, the fact that multiple sources accused Will of basically the same thing makes people believe that there may be some merit to the rumors, but who knows and who cares? Number 7. Will Smith almost ended his father's life. The Smiths are famous for getting into way too much detail when discussing their family history. Will Smith released a memoir called Will in 2021 that was chock full of juicy information that most certainly should have remained secret. One of the most shocking revelations in the book would have resulted in Will spending his life in prison had he followed through with his plans. The actor explained his father, Will Smith Sr., got physical towards himself and his mother constantly. As a young one, he vowed to seek revenge for his mother when he was older and capable of more. Eventually, his father was diagnosed with cancer, and Will was forced to take care of him while he was bedridden. Will saw this as the perfect opportunity to take Papa down. He wrote, "One night, as I delicately wheeled him from his bedroom towards the bathroom, a darkness arose within me." Ugh. He then went on to describe the moment that he contemplated pushing this man down the stairs and noted that no one would have suspected him and the moment would have been perfect. He wrote, "I am one of the best actors in the world. My 911 call could have been Academy Award level." Will ultimately decided not to end his father's life, obviously, instead taking care of him until he passed away in 2016. Number 6. Interview evidence. When Jada revealed the truth about her separation from Will, she claimed that by the time they reached 2016 that they'd just become exhausted with trying to make things work. The news of their separation was like a mild shock to most people, as Super Sleuth fans claimed to have proof that Will and Jada were separated a long time ago, and the proof is in the interviews. The first clip to be submitted as evidence was Will and Jada's Red Table Talk interaction, in which she admitted to the entanglement with musician Oxdalzina and simultaneously admitted to a brief separation between herself and Will. In the conversation, she literally says that herself and Will had basically broken up, but instead of just outright admitting the information right then and there, she decided to hold on to it for a better time. Many Jada fans have commented on the resurfaced clips, saying that Will looks drained, clearly dealing with a ton ton mentally. Jada is a calculated woman. Why reveal all the juicy gossip that she's got so early in her life when she could probably just wait and it'll help sell some books? She was probably ready to tell the world what happened as soon as it happened, but held onto the information as a way to give her a boost in the future if it was needed. Is it really a surprise that she's releasing all this information right when her book's coming out? Give them a scoop so they have to buy more and get the good stuff. Good move, but very manipulative, lady. Number 5. Gets busy to relax. While the Smiths have famously entangled with other celebrities throughout their marriage, Will once again shared just a bit too much information in his book Will, and at one point he made a not so shocking confession. When he was younger, Will was dating a woman named Melanie who he discovered was cheating on him while he was away from work. Smith was deeply attached to his former girlfriend and to just women in general. In his book, Will writes that he always needed a woman to achieve for. Prior to Melanie, Will had only been with one other woman physically, but following the breakup, Will claims to have gone hyena mode over the next few months, making love to anyone who would consent. At first using this as a way to relax and feel better about the relationship, it eventually grew into a full-fledged addiction to the point where Will claims to have suffered a psychosomatic reaction from the escapades, causing him to occasionally vomit the moment he reaches completion. Again, I didn't need that image in my head, I didn't need to know that, but since I have to suffer, now you have to as well. Number 4. That's what she said. As we all know by now, Will Smith doesn't like Chris Rock putting his wife's name in his mouth, okay? After the altercation that took place in 2022 at the Oscars, a ton of people were convinced that it was Jada who told Will to do it. Will was laughing moments before taking the stage and doing his thing. According to Jada, she actually had zero part in the altercation and thought that the entire thing was a skit right up until she saw Will walking back towards her. The fury in this man's eyes could not be faked. She revealed that she actually didn't mind the G.I. Jane joke all that much. I mean, sure, she didn't appreciate it, but according to her, she in no way told Will Smith to strike her Madagascar co-star. The first thing that she had actually apparently said to him when he sat down was just, "Are you okay?" He went up to accept his award for Best Actor and later apologized for his actions. Despite the apology, he was banned from attending the Oscars for 10 years, and so far, he has not spoken to Chris Rock face to face. Number 3. Weird science. Now, while I can't say what this belief system is actually called, it's usually spoken in reference to Hollywood madman Tom Cruise and involves L. Ron Hubbard, so that should be enough for you to piece it together. Jada Pinkett-Smith was briefly involved in the community and still partakes in some of its methods to this day. Jada and the rest of her family have often been linked to the controversial religion, though no members apart from Jada have ever actually admitted to being involved in any way, shape, or form. While Jada denies that she is a full-fledged member, the facts are she's been spotted attending several church events over the years. Former member Leah Remini backed up the claims of Jada's involvement, telling the Daily Beast that she herself interacted with Jada at an event taking place at the Science Celebrity Center. Essentially a giant room with famous nutcases, and Tom Cruise probably has an apartment in there. If you want proof that the Smiths are involved in the religion, the family literally founded a school that contained an exclusively science-based curriculum. That'd be like me opening a library containing just the Twilight books and being like, "Man, what are you talking about? I freaking hate Twilight. Why does everybody think I like Twilight so much?" Number 2, they actually suck. While rumors plagued Will and Jada from the moment that they were married, their careers never seemed to suffer at all. In fact, some would argue that Will was slowly taking over the Hollywood world, starring in movies like the Men in Black franchise, I Am Legend, and Bad Boys. It wasn't until he struck Chris Rock at the Oscars ceremony live in front of the world that the truth began to be revealed. Will exposed himself as an impulsive and aggressive man, hidden behind a big smile. When Chris insulted Jada Pinkett-Smith by joking about his excitement for G.I. Jane in the movie, Will initially laughed, but of course he went on stage and we all know that he didn't find it funny. Will won Best Actor that night, but it would be the last good thing that ever happened to this man. The Academy banned him from attending any events in the next 10 years, he's been blacklisted in Hollywood, and Jada's talk show on Facebook was canceled. So it turns out the most sane people in the Smith family are Will's kids, and I'm not sure how to feel about that. Number 1, Oscars confusion. Now that all this information is being leaked into the world by Jada herself, one major question was still lingering on everyone's minds. If she hasn't been with Will for 7 years, why did he feel like it was necessary to defend her and strike Chris Rock at the Oscars? Many fans have flooded social media with questions and concerns surrounding the incident. Now, if you don't remember, how? Chris Rock made fun of Jada for being bald, Will Smith went on stage and took him out for it, the end. Now, if Will Smith had been attending Chris Rock's stand-up special that came out earlier this year, who knows what would have happened? It was Fantastic, you should really check it out. Despite Will claiming that playing the role of King Richard had left him in an odd mental state, it really was no excuse for his outburst, especially if he had not been romantically involved with Jada in years. The main point being made by some is that despite Will and Jada not being together romantically, that they remained close friends, and in that instance, Will was defending his very good friend, right? But that's still no excuse for causing Marty the Zebra pain. Man, I love Madagascar, you should check it out. Will has claimed that he tried to reach out to Chris following the Oscars, but that he was told Chris wasn't ready to talk. Either that, or he was ready but knew that he would just fly off the handle the moment that he heard Will Smith's voice.
Lamar Odom is first up on the list as someone who, for some reason, turned the whole conversation back on himself and trying to win back Khloe Kardashian, even though she wants absolutely nothing to do with him now. When asked about his reaction to the slap heard across the world, he stated, quote, "He loves his wife. I do not condone violence against anyone. Will Smith loves Jada Pinkett-Smith. I was told love covers a multitude of sins. Had I protected my wife," referring to Khloe, "versus mentally, emotionally, and spiritually hurting her, I may still be married. I respect a man who doesn't quit the hustle, even though it's definitely not gonna happen." Either way, he seems a lot more empathetic for Will Smith's cause than the average person. Jane Hubert is next on the list. She portrayed Aunt Viv in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air alongside Will Smith in his younger years. Although she did say that both parties were acting wrongly in the circumstance, she did extend some more sympathy towards Will Smith. Quote, "There's only so much one can take, sometimes you have to slap back. Celebrate the win, nothing else matters. Both actions were incorrect, but Chris didn't need to go there." Likely by there, she meant poking fun at Jada's autoimmune disorder of alopecia. Next up on the list is MJ Rodriguez. MJ is a Golden Globe winner and a GLAAD honoree who has shown some support for Will. She's known for her roles in Nurse Jackie and Tick Tick Boom. She felt the need to show some kindness towards the Men in Black actor during the Vanity Fair Oscar after party the night of the slap. Quote, "Sometimes when you're speaking about somebody's wife, you can't really help that. So that's what I would say. I think a lot of people are showing more empathy for Will, who was caught in kind of a tough situation of feeling the need to defend his wife from something she's sensitive about. I think you can recognize when someone is wrong and still understand why they did what they did, as it seems to be the case with MJ here." Next on my list is a US Congresswoman named Ayanna Pressley, who I guess didn't have much else going on that day because America is notoriously peaceful. In a since deleted tweet, she posted a picture of herself and her husband. She's also got alopecia like Jada, and the tweet said, quote, "Alopecia Nation stand up. Thank you, Will Smith. Shout out to all the husbands who defend their wives living with alopecia in the face of daily ignorance and insults. Women with baldies are for real men only. Boys need not apply." I love this trend of other notable people who decide to just make the whole thing about themselves. Next on my list is Jaden Smith. Okay, this one is kind of cheating because obviously he'd have to defend his own family and stay on his dad's side, but I'm still gonna count it. After the Oscars party had occurred and war was raging on Twitter in full swing, Jaden simply showed his support for his dad with a tweet. He said, quote, "And that's how we do it." The tweet got over 1 million likes and tons of attention from people who continued fighting in the comment section, obviously because what else is Twitter for? Of course, Jaden would side with his own father, but it's interesting that both Jada and Willow at the time of writing this have remained entirely silent, although I think that that may be the smarter of two choices when it comes to the backlash that they could face while the world is looking in on their family. Next up is, surprisingly, Jim Carrey. When the Oscar slap first occurred, Jim Carrey was super outspoken about how deplorable getting up on stage and slapping someone is. He very specifically said that the moment when Will went on stage was, quote, "sickening." Initially, he described the incident as deplorable and that celebrities aren't cool anymore. However, while he was promoting Sonic the Hedgehog 2, he elaborated in his previous comments with a quote, "The fact is that license is being given to people to act out violently when they don't like what they hear, and it just shouldn't be. I also think that people not unlike Will or myself, we live in a lot of pressure. We set up a lot of pressure for ourselves, and we're encouraged by this country to never stop and never be satisfied and never take a look at our lives and go, you know what, I'm enough. I've had enough. I've done enough. I don't need 9 businesses. I don't need to be a movie producer, director, writer, actor, star, and have a record company, and be on TikTok, and be on social media, and have a reality show, and share my innermost life on some therapy show. I don't condemn him for that, it's just wrong. Jim was super eloquent about the whole thing, and although he didn't outright fully take Will's side, he did defend him, and he does believe that we shouldn't be so harsh on someone who's so involved in the pressure of being in the spotlight. Next on my list is kind of, in my opinion, a definite defense of Will Smith. And it's the entire Oscars crowd. While we do have some memorable reactions to the shouting match that went on for a bit, when Will went up on stage again, this time to accept his Oscar for King Richard, he was met with a standing ovation. Everyone in that crowd got up and clapped for him. This tells me that when everyone decided to condemn Will for his action, they were only doing so because that became the popular opinion. To go from a standing ovation and encouraging Smith after he slapped another performer instead of speaking in private with him afterwards, to now condemning him on Twitter and labeling his actions as deplorable, it just tells me that your morals only go with what is popular and don't actually speak for what you genuinely believe. I just feel like this whole thing really reveals the hypocrisy of Hollywood. At the end of the day, saying that Will could have killed Chris Rock is absolutely ridiculous, and just further shows how soft the industry actually is. They outcry that this is an act of violence while committing heinous acts themselves that, just because people aren't caught, it didn't happen. Next on the list of celebs who defended Will Smith is rapper Nicki Minaj. The artist went on a bit of a rant on Twitter about the altercation. She tweeted out, quote, "I love Chris Rock. I don't think he would have made that joke had he known what Jada recently shared, but between him and the whole team on the Oscars, you mean to tell me not one of y'all heard this woman just share her heartbreaking story? Come on, son. You just got to witness in real time what happens in a man's soul when he looks over to the woman he loves and sees her holding back tears from a little joke at her expense. This is what any and every real man feels in that instance. While y'all seeing this joke, he's seeing her pain." It seems that she was more interested in the defense of Jada rather than the reaction itself. I think she really feels for a man who is attempting to defend his wife even if it is a wholly inappropriate situation. Second to last on my list is Tiffany Haddish. Tiffany also took a similar stance to Nicki Minaj in the sense that she also felt that Will was trying to protect his wife. Speaking to the Los Angeles Times, Tiffany stated, quote, "I think Chris was messy. As a woman who had a husband, I wish my husband would have stood up for me the way Will stood up for Jada. That's what every woman wants, right? She was hurt and he protected his wife, and that's what a man is supposed to do." Although not many people defended Smith, the ones that do seem to focus less on his action, and more so on how he decided to protect Jada rather than remain silent. Last on the list is Jamila Jamil. Jamila, always one with an opinion, and more so one that's wrong rather than right, also chose to spoke out in defense of Will. Her reaction was much more unique than I think the others are, and that's why I put it last. The actress took to Twitter to speak about the Oscars slap. Quote, "Will Smith said not today. A man big enough to absolutely floor him slapped him softly enough that Chris barely moved because he made fun of his wife's alopecia on a world stage. Don't say protect black women for 2 years and then only condemn Will here. Come on." I don't personally see how this was an attack against black women, but maybe that's not my place to say. Starting off our list today at number 10, we have The Affair. August Alsina and Jada Pinkett-Smith would shock the world and embarrass Will Smith in the process after August sat down for a bombshell interview, and in the interview he would reveal that he did in fact have an affair with Jada Pinkett-Smith in 2015 when he made an appearance on The Breakfast Club. In the interview, August would tell Angela Yee, "I actually sat down with Will and had a conversation due to the transformation of their marriage to life partnership. He gave me his blessing," keyword, gave me his blessing. While August went on to insist that he hadn't done anything wrong and that there was nothing for him to be ashamed of because he loved the Smiths, and he also would reveal that he completely gave himself to the relationship as he was really in love with Jada. But while the relationship might have occurred with honesty and communication, Will would be blindsided not only by the affair but everything August was saying about it in the process, and he would be humiliated by Jada. Number 9. Her birthday. The day after Jada Pinkett Smith's 37th birthday, birthday, Will Smith knew he wanted to do something so huge for his wife's 40th birthday party that he took 3 years to plan the big day so he could have everything right. While most girls would swoon over the gesture, as let's face it, we live in a sad reality where everybody has to buy themselves flowers because guys just won't do it for us, Jada would be less than pleased with her husband, and the embarrassment would be so bad it would cause Will to hit a low point in his marriage. With Will hiring an orchestra and a documentary team to trace his wife's roots, when the big day finally came, Jada would lose her cool and tell Will to cancel their plans for the next day. As Will would reveal, she's like, "It's my birthday. She told me that the party was the most ridiculous display of my ego." Crushed, right? To this day, I know I was crushed because it was true. It wasn't a party for her. And when she called me out on that, that's when I snapped. But I think we can all agree Jada definitely overreacted to make her husband feel bad for treating her like a queen. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you never have to miss out on what we might just cover next. Number 8. Bad parenting conversation. When it comes to Jada's and Will's parenting skills, Jada will stop at nothing to throw Will under the bus for just having a different opinion altogether, with Jada always being extremely open and vulnerable during her hit Facebook watch series Red Table Talk. When she brought her son Jaden and her daughter Willow and her mom on the show, during the conversation, Willow and Jaden would open up about being raised by Will and Jada. And they even went on to share some of their issues they had to deal with because they grew up in a famous family. After Willow opened up about how she found it difficult to connect with her parents as she felt like their values were the opposite of what she needed at the time, Jaden would also note that he went through similar problems. Jada would then switch the light from her to Will when she said their point of view and parenting skills were different because they were both raised differently, and she herself started to call Will out on his parenting skills instead of admitting her faults and promising that she would work on them. Number 7. Brought herself to the Red Table Talk. If the affair couldn't get any more embarrassing for Will, the aftermath would have him screaming in embarrassment after Jada admitted that there was some healing that needed to take place and tweeted that she would be the subject of her next Red Table Talk. She would then force Will to make an appearance on the episode where he would share his side of the story and how he found peace through all the pain. Although Jada confirms that she had an affair with August, Jada and Will would then confirm that they were temporarily separated when everything occurred, and how she reunited with Will as soon as August was out of the picture because she knew she just couldn't stay away from Will. With the clip soon becoming a viral sensation due to Jada repeating the word entanglement rather than affair, it became an online target for jokes, as it would show a picture of Will in tears before she forced Will to deny that he even cried in the first place. Number 6. Her feelings for Tupac. When it comes to Jada's relationship with Tupac, no one really knows what exactly went on with the two, and for the longest time it caused Will to feel like he was being tortured by their relationship. Back in 2021, Will would sit down with Oprah Winfrey to discuss his new memoir ahead of its release, and in it he would admit to having a feeling that he has let down every woman he has ever been with. When the memoir was released, the world would then come to know pretty much everything about Will's and Jada's relationship and how he was raging in jealousy when it came to Jada's connection with Tupac. As in the beginning, Jada made him feel like he was nothing when it came to Pac, and it made Will feel embarrassed, and he was so triggered by Jada's feelings that it made him view himself as being a coward, as he hated that he wasn't Pac. Even when Jada ended up choosing Will over Tupac, she would still continue to judge Will and make him live up to her standards, as she went on to reveal that she would always be in love with Tupac and no one would ever change that. Even today she still shares poems that Tupac wrote to her, and you can just tell their relationship was bigger than just being friends like she's previously claimed. Number 5. Wishes they were swingers. For a while now, Jada Pinkett-Smith has been turning her relationship into one giant joke, to the point when we saw a clip resurface of her talking about the craziest things people thought about her and Will had all of our jaws dropping to the floor. Back in 2017, Jada made an appearance on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen. And while talking to Andy, a fan in the audience would ask the actor, "What is the craziest rumor you've ever heard about your family?" To which Jada obviously responded without missing a beat by saying, "That Will and I are swingers. That's the craziest one. It's constant." Then, instead of just laughing off the situation, she then went on to tell the fan, and I'm like, yo, I wish, before repeating, I wish louder so she can add some emphasis to it. It's clear that Jada has never believed in a conventional marriage, and in the process to get the relationship she wanted, she has manipulated Will into agreeing to having an unconventional one so she could get with anyone she's ever wanted to get with. Number 4. intimacy issues. Back in 2021, Jada would do everything but escaping the spotlight when she took to her Red Table talk show to discuss her and Will's intimacy issues when she invited Gwyneth Paltrow on the show. When Gwyneth revealed that she was having the best intimate moments of her life when she was a newlywed, Jada made a stark comparison in light of her own relationship with Will. And she pretty much stated that since her and Will got together at a very young age, the accountability part of the relationship hit her the most because she just expected Will to know everything she needed, and if he loved her, like really loved her, he should have been able to read her mind. It got to the point Jada was so flustered she even had to tell Will, "Tell me what you need, tell me what you want, and on top of it, I know that I have to be accountable to do the same." When Jada then went on to shade their intimacy level, it made us all realize that she never really loved Will, and she probably never will love Will, and it's more like she uses him now for his name as clickbait so she can draw in views to her show. Number 3, the prenup. If you thought the embarrassment of Will just started now, then you may want to think again, as this dates all the way back to the 90s. When they first started seeing each other. After an unearthed interview from 1997 started to circulate online, we all started to realize that there was a lot of red flags when it came to Jada's and Will's relationship. Starting for when she sat down with the Chicago Times for Jet magazine and she discussed her upcoming wedding with Will and said that he declined to sign a prenuptial agreement despite her insisting that she would sign anything. Jada then went on to tell the outlet, "Someone actually had the nerve to ask me if I'm signing a prenup agreement." The actress then found the overall question humorous before she went on to call her then husband to be very generous. Jada then went on to say, "I had to laugh because Will is a very generous guy and we love each other. Actually, I've told you, you can make up any prenuptial agreement you and your accountant want." But gloating about how you pretty much convinced your husband if you were to leave, you could pretty much take anything isn't exactly wife material. Am I right or am I wrong? Number 2. Forcing Will to be on IG Live. After the Chris Rock incident, a lot of people have gone on to reevaluate certain publicized moments of Will Smith's marriage. And there has been a lot of WTF moments. And one of these moments actually is a clip where Jada can be seen going live on Instagram sometime around 2019. And in the video, she begins by talking about her and Will's marriage counselor, and suddenly she turns the camera to Will to get his opinion. Things then got really awkward after she pointed the phone at him and asked him, "Well, you say that she has been instrumental in you, and I'm redefining our relationship." At the point, Will could then be seen looking incredibly uncomfortable with his wife to the point he calmly responded to her by saying, "I would say just don't start filming without asking me if you could." Jada then kept trying to record her video in order to get a response out of him to the point Will just had to turn away from the camera and plead with his wife to stop. This was no doubt a pretty embarrassing moment for Will, and it made us wonder why she just couldn't keep this conversation in a room with the couple's therapist. And coming in at number 1 today, we have the marriage. One thing about Jada's Red Table talk show is that she never misses an opportunity to embarrass her husband. Just after Will and Jada became the talk of the town due to Will's infamous Chris Rock slap at the Oscar ceremony in 2022, a video would resurface from Jada's show, and in it, the actor would admit that she really did not want to get married to Will Smith and that the couple had struggled a lot to get to where they are today. In an episode, Jada would recall how she cried walking down the aisle as she tied the knot with her husband, and that the wedding day only ever happened in the first place is because she got pregnant with the couple's first child, Jaden. Will also added that the couple only got married because Jada's mom forced them to tie the knot. Jada then revealed that she really did not want to get married, and she cried for a whole night after she realized that her life was going to change and not be the same after she became a mother. But I mean, how do you claim someone forced you to do something when you're a grown adult and you make your own decisions? Coming at number 10 today, we have the Oscars. The incident that occurred between Chris Rock and Will Smith has become known as the Slapgate that took place during the 94th Academy Awards on March 27, 2022. And it has become a moment that has gone down in history as a night full of mementos, wins, and controversy in equal measure. While the night was supposed to be filled with glamour and applause, the prestigious award ceremony was plunged into chaos when a Hollywood actor decided to take the stage and smack comedian Chris Rock following a joke Chris made about Will's wife, Jada Pinkett-Smith, and her balding head. Despite initially laughing at Rock's joke, Will Smith would then shock attendees and views alike when he walked onto the stage at the Oscars and displayed a baffling incident that even had Chris Rock say, "Why wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me. To which Smith would then respond from his seat by shouting, "Keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth," twice at the comedian. Shortly after the incident came, Smith was then announced as the winner of the 2022 Best Actor Award for his lead role in King Richard. Upon receiving the award, which was his first ever Oscar win, Smith would apologize to the Academy and the fellow nominees for his reaction, but he did not apologize to Rock till later. Number 9. Jada Pinkett-Smith. It seems like Jada Pinkett-Smith just can't stop embarrassing her husband, Will Smith, and while the actress continues to do everything she can to ruin her husband's image, all of us are left to question what type of game she's playing, from her stating that she wished her and her husband were swingers, forcing Will to be on Instagram live videos, talking about her and Will's intimacy issues, mocking a party Will threw, and talking about her feelings for Tupac, letting the world know about her relationship with another man, and even bringing Will on the Red Table Talk podcast to address their relationship, and not to mention after the infamous Oscar incident, she even declared that her mom forced her to get married to Will and that she never wanted to do it. Seems like Jada just wants to humiliate Will, and it makes us question why she's doing it and why Will is still with her. While it seems all of Will's drama revolves around his wife, if he wants to get his foot back into Hollywood at some point, he really needs to make the tough decision and split from her, because his career is just in this downward spiral due to her odd actions. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming number 8, we have Margot Robbie. In November 2013, Will was rumored to be hooking up with Margot Robbie on set of their film Focus, after photos were leaked of the pair joking around and fake flashing the camera in a photo booth. While the rumors were quickly put to rest after a source told E! News that Robbie and Smith were absolutely just friends, that's all. The picture that Will and Margot took were commissioned by the production, and the entire cast and crew saw them taken. While the rumors continued to circulate in the years to follow, Margot even seemed to hint at the rumors of her and Smith and set the record straight about her dating life when she revealed that she had sworn off dating fellow actors and preferred dating someone who wasn't known in Hollywood. But did she just swear off dating fellow actors because she had an affair and really wanted Will to be with her instead of Jada? However, it's pretty disappointing that goofing around on set can be taken so out of context to the point Hollywood tried to damage Will Smith's perfect guy image. Number 7. Resignation from the Academy. When Will Smith announced in a statement that he would be resigning from the Academy after his infamous incident with Chris Rock, this wouldn't make his troubles go away. While Will's resignation did come with an apology, it wouldn't stop the Academy's investigation of his conduct. While Rock would go on not to press charges against Will, he would start a lawsuit against Smith, the showrunners, and the security in control of the event for not ensuring the environment was safe. While many Oscar guests are still troubled by the standing ovation Will received after his tearful acceptance speech for his role in King Richard, the resignation could hurt his future in Hollywood. While it doesn't mean that he won't be able to be invited to future award ceremonies or that he can't be nominated for future awards, he will no longer be a voting member of the Academy, which could pose a problem in the future with the actor. Number 6. Will versus Aunt Viv. Do you remember Aunt Viv from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and how she mysteriously vanished from the show at the end of season 3 in 1993? Well, in an interview with Atlanta radio station in 1993, Will Smith would publicly go after Janet Hubert and say, "I can't say straight up that Janet Hubert wanted the show to be Aunt Viv of Bel-Air, because I know she is going to dog me in the press. She's basically gone from $250,000 a year to nothing. She's mad now, but she's been mad all along." She said once, "I've been in the business for 10 years and this snotty-nosed punk comes along and gets a show. No matter what to her, I'm just an antichrist." However, later Janet would then criticize the show and express her dislikes for Will in interviews as their public feud played out. She even swore that she would never appear in a reunion episode, and according to TMZ, she said, "As I will never have done anything with an a-hole like Will Smith. He's an egomaniac and he has not grown up. This consistent reunion thing will never happen in my lifetime unless there is an apology," which he doesn't know the word. Number 5. the entanglement. When musician August Alsina brought the Smiths' relationship into the spotlight back in July of 2020, he revealed that he had been romantically involved with Jada Pinkett-Smith, and then August claimed that Will Smith knew about the relationship and even gave the two his blessing. The whole situation would just be really weird because at first Jada tried to deny August's claims and that they were even in a relationship, and then she did this whole 180 thing and eventually confessed to being in an entanglement with August, and then claimed that it was because of her and Will had separated that she decided to go separate ways for a period of time and figure out what she was doing, and she even told Will how to figure out how to make himself happy so she could figure out how to make herself happy. And while Jada originally decided she wasn't going to talk about the issue, she then forced Will onto her Red Table Talk show so they could discuss their marriage and relationship, and she would explain what she did and why she did it, and Will just had to sit there and accept what he was being told. And even during the show, Jada said she really felt like their marriage was over, and that's why she did what she did. Number 4, the Scientology issue. While neither Will Smith or Jada Pinkett-Smith have ever confirmed their religious affiliation with the Church of Scientology, the Smith family has long been rumored to be members of the controversial church. Back in May of 2011, the Men's Vogue magazine, Will would say, "I've studied Buddhism and Hinduism, and I've studied Scientology through Tom Cruise, and nobody is saying anything different." His comments would then go on to earn him a great deal of backlash, especially when he claimed that 98% of the Scientology principles were identical to the Bible. And in October 2018, however, the Bad Boy star would then declare during an appearance on his wife's Red Table Talk show alongside of Jada that his family has never been Scientologists, but there's just so much proof to prove otherwise. Number 3, Scientology School for Kids. In July of 2020, the Daily Beast would publish an interview with Lee Ramini, the ex-Scientologist turned whistleblower who alleged that Jada was a devoted practitioner of Scientology. In the interview, she would say, "I know Jada's in. She's been in Scientology a long time. I never saw Will Smith there, but I saw Jada at the Celebrity Center." She would then reveal that Jada and Will even opened up a Scientology school and have since closed it, but Lee also confirmed that she saw Jada at the center all the time. The Daily Beast would then speak to 4 former teachers and administrators at the New Village Leadership Academy who would insist that the Scientology not only bled into every aspect of the school, but that it was essentially a Scientology school filled with mostly Scientologist teachers that taught students Scientology methods of learning. And apparently the academy began as a homeschool in one of the Smiths' unused residence in Indian Hills, California. It was also said that Will and Jada gathered 20 to 30 kids, including their own kids Jaden and Willow, in their homes, and Will and Jada were also pictured speaking inside the school and at events. Number 2, boycotting fans. If you're one of those fans who doesn't feel quite ready to see Smith headline another movie, the actor says he respects your wishes. During the promotional lead up to the film Emancipation, which many expected to be an Oscar contender, however it was probably shut out because of Will's poor behavior at the last Oscars, Smith was asked about how he would respond to fans, and Will would go on to express nothing but respect to those who haven't yet forgiven him for slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars by saying, "I completely understand if somebody is not ready. I would absolutely respect that and allow them their space to not be ready." Which honestly seems pretty fair for him to answer that, as we've all been getting a lot from this controversial star. While Will has expressed regret for what happened and concern for how his actions will impact his colleagues, it seems like the boycotting fans have taken a huge toll on his acting career, as he has now had films snubbed from the Academy Awards this year, and also many shows and movies have been cancelled over the last year, and he hasn't really been able to book any work as producers are scared that having him in a movie could result in negative impact, and no one really wants to deal with that situation as of right now. And it's pretty sad because Will Smith, in my opinion, is one of the best actors Hollywood has, and no one can play a lot of these roles better than he can. And coming in number 1 today, we have his open marriage. During an interview with GQ in September of 2021, Will Smith would reveal that he and his wife haven't always been in a monogamous relationship relationship and that Jada never believed in a conventional marriage. He would then also say Jada had family members that had an unconventional relationship, so she grew up in a way that was different than how he grew up. And he used this to try to justify their open relationship, which is a very controversial topic in Hollywood still to this day. He would then later hint that both parties have taken advantage of the trust and freedom in their relationship when he would say, "There were significant endless discussions about what is relational perfection. And a large part of the relationship monogamy was what we chose to not thinking monogamy as the only relational perfection. But does a healthy relationship mean you accommodate your wife's weird idea what a perfect relationship is?"
Number 10. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The NBA legend seemed to take Will Smith at his word when the actor apologized for slapping comedian Chris Rock at the Academy Awards. Quote, "There is no part of me that thinks that that was the right way to behave in that moment. There's no part of me that thinks that the optimal way to handle a feeling of disrespect or insults." Abdul-Jabbar voiced his support for Will Smith and made it clear that he doesn't believe Smith is just trying to save his own skin. Quote, "I'm going to look at his words and accept that they are sincere and honest. I'm going to believe that after a lengthy period of soul-searching, family rebuilding, and moral prioritizing, he was ready to face a shocked and disapproving world, one that may no longer be rooting for him." The NBA star seemed to have a lot of sympathy for the actor, as he later added that he is rooting for him. It does look like he did a full 180 though, considering that Abdul-Jabbar was among one of the first people to criticize him following the incident. So while some might see the apology video as a shallow attempt to rehabilitate his image, at least Will has a strong supporter on his side. Number 9. Jessie Woo. The Haitian-American comedian, media personality, and singer had some of her own thoughts about Will's new video. She said that her favorite part was his clarification of his longtime wife Jada Pinkett-Smith's involvement with the incident. Quote, "My favorite part of Will Smith's apology is him making it clear that Jada never told him to do anything to Chris after his joke." Jessie went on to call out the many people who built a following off of blaming Jada and targeting her with their hatred for something that Will did. She claims that people are desperate to make her the villain in the situation. In his video, Will was asked whether or not his wife had asked her husband to do anything after visibly rolling her eyes at Chris Rock's joke, before he stormed off the stage and slapped him across the face. But the actor clarified the speculation and simply said no, that he made the choice on his own from his own experiences and history with Chris Rock. In fact, he said that Jada had nothing to do with it. So while a key aspect of his video that's driving the social divide is whether or not Will was a victim or a perpetrator of trauma, most people have agreed that the shot of Jada giving Will the look was not an indication of her encouraging him in any way. Number 8. Dr. Shola Mos Shogbememu. The lawyer, politician, and women's rights activist called Will's apology raw and human, as she was clearly able to empathize with what the actor was trying to say. Quote, "Will Smith apology. I felt it. It's raw and human. I was very disappointed by his actions that night, and it looks like he doesn't understand it too, but makes no excuses." But while Dr. Shola was appreciative of Will's public gesture, she also said that Chris Rock's decision to stay away from the actor and take the time he needed was something to be respected. Dr. Shola is no stranger to voicing her opinion when it matters. In fact, she recently slammed Piers Morgan after he tried to defend the royal family against racism allegations after the Oprah interview with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. While she was on Good Morning Britain, the activist slammed Piers for defending the royal family and calling the interview an absolute disgraceful betrayal. So after going through all that, it's no surprise that she thinks the apology was genuine and is able to see it from a more well-rounded perspective. Number 7. Jamie Foxx. The Oscar-winning actor expressed his support for his longtime friend by commenting on an Instagram post of Will's apology video. Jamie said, quote, "Love you bro, you're still that young man from Philly that we fell in love with a long time ago." He then went on to say that Will's true fans have never stopped loving him, and that they are with him through the good, the bad, and the indifferent. He ended the post optimistically by saying that he looks forward to seeing Will and Chris patch things up between them and become friends again. It's good to see that Jamie Foxx has chosen to support Will and accept his apology, but it's funny that he's helped out the comedian Dave Chappelle in a similar incident that occurred this year. That's right, in May, he reportedly helped Dave Chappelle fight off a man who rushed the stage and tackled the comedian during a stand-up set at the Hollywood Bowl as a part of the Netflix Is a Joke festival. According to the Associated Press, security guards also chased and overpowered the attacker. The man who tackled him was later taken away in an ambulance before Chris Rock took the stage, jokingly asking if the man was Will Smith, who just slapped Rock on the stage at the Oscars in March. Gotta love the parallels there. Number 6. Billy Porter. The American actor, singer, and writer was a guest on The View, and he discussed Will Smith's latest apology video for the Oscar slap that occurred earlier that year. Porter praised Will for not blaming the incident on anyone but himself and taking accountability for his own actions. Quote, "It's nice to see that it's no longer the devil made me do it. It's not the devil's fault, it's your fault. To take responsibility for that is the right thing to do." Porter implied that now, with all things considered, he wouldn't judge him for just having a bad day. But his attitude towards Smith was a little different earlier that year. While speaking to Entertainment Tonight, Porter gave a thoughtful and forceful condemnation of the incident, likening Smith's behavior to unchecked misogyny, and said that it's upsetting and really disheartening when a version of masculinity shows up like that. He concluded his comments by saying Will's example of toxic masculinity has only made Porter more determined to be himself. And I will be the black queen that I am, because if that is the representation of what masculinity is supposed to be, I don't need it. So he's definitely changed his tune over the past 4 months. Number 5. Janetta Elzie. The American civil rights activist and organizer of We the Protesters was looking at Will's apology from a totally different angle. She wants to know if Jada Pinkett-Smith ever got the apologies that she deserved in the incident. She tweeted, quote, "Did Jada get an apology from Chris Rock? Just wondering." She then went on to point out the ridiculousness of these so-called YouTube apologies, even calling the whole thing unnecessary. Quote, "Celebrity beef is different. Why is Will apologizing to Chris Rock, who is yachting in Croatia with Matthew McConaughey? That man ain't thinking about that damn slap." And Janetta is not the only person who feels that Jada Pinkett-Smith is the one who deserves an apology. In fact, many people are now starting to feel that it's unfair that Chris Rock never apologized to her for the tasteless joke he made in the first place. One Twitter user wrote that Will Smith is being compelled to apologize to Chris Rock, while the very idea of Chris Rock apologizing to Jada would likely get you laughed out of the room. It's interesting when you look at it that way. Number 4. Fraser McDonald. The English YouTuber and commentator better known as iNever has put his 2 cents in about the whole situation and looks at it from his own standpoint. While he condemned the Oscar slap in the first place, he was also able to sympathize with Will Smith. Quote, "I don't agree with Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, but his apology to me is clearly so genuine and sincere. I'm also not really surprised the man slapped like he did. He has been constantly berated by the media for years now and made a mockery whenever he was vulnerable and sad." Fraser went on to say that we can either agree or disagree with Smith's actions at the Oscars, but he condemns how much context was removed from the build-up to the incident, and he hates how everyone believes the actor is now this awful human being. Right after the slap occurred, the YouTuber was quick to criticize the excessive backlash that the actor received. "It's crazy how they're doing more to punish Will Smith than they did to any Hollywood predator." To be fair, Will explained why he didn't mention Rock in his Best Actor acceptance speech and claimed that he was unable to focus in the moment and said everything went fuzzy, which is probably just down to the adrenaline of the situation. Number 3. Justin Tinsley. The American journalist specializing in hip-hop, pop culture, and sports took to Twitter to express his support for Will Smith following his new video apology. How you feel about the Will Smith apology video is completely up to you, but him saying disappointing people is my central trauma, that resonated with me on a different level. It appears that Will's apology really hit home for the journalist. And he believed that it was a genuine way for the actor to say sorry for the incident that took place 4 months ago. In the 5-minute long video, Will Smith took his time to apologize to Chris Rock as he shared the current dynamic between the two. With Rock still not ready to talk to the actor about the incident, Smith made it clear that he will stay put and wait for Rock to find his footing, and whatever whatever he does, he will be there to listen. He also clarified that Jada did not direct him to get on the stage and take action. The rash decision was entirely his own doing. Number 2, Cherie Zampino. Will Smith's first wife and mother to his son Trey Smith took to Instagram to express her love and support for her ex-husband following the release of his apology video that still seems to have the internet really divided. She addressed her comment directly to Will, saying, quote, "You are so loved. My prayer is that the grace you've extended to so many will be given to you." It's good to see that she's publicly supporting the actor now, considering that she has been silent for quite some time following the incident. During the infamous slap, Zampino was watching alongside her co-stars from The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills at an Oscars viewing party. An insider source close to the star claimed that after the altercation, Cherie looked embarrassed and reportedly skedaddled from the viewing party, which was brimming with other stars, probably in an effort to avoid being questioned by the other celebrities. But on Instagram, she kept things positive and showed her support by posting a photo of herself with Will, which was taken after the awards ceremony, with the caption, "Epic night, congratulations again, when one wins, we all win, #family1st." And coming in at number 1, Tyrese Gibson. In a post shared on Instagram, Tyrese Gibson reacted positively to Will's apology and had nothing but praise for him, even referring to the actor as his hero. He wrote a heartfelt comment on the Instagram post of the video, quote, "We all just watched a video with all heart that would have never been uploaded from anyone on earth like this but Will Smith. After 3 months, as so much other stuff has happened in the world, he's been paused and put in mental, emotional, and traumatic prison." Tyrese went on to say that when you actually care for people and how you affect them with your words and your choices, you lose a lot of sleep over those tiny mistakes. The actor and R&B singer rallied behind his friend. Quote, "Will Smith, if you see this message, big bro, the real ones out here love you and have never stopped loving you, because we know that you are human." He added words of encouragement and support, saying that he has never stopped loving everyone caught up in the incident, including Chris Rock and his family, as well as the Smiths. But Tyrese also called out the hypocrisy and claimed that Will only broke the internet because of who he was, and insisted that if anyone else did it, quote, "it would have been in the blogs for 4 days and been over," which is a really interesting take.